So this is how I put my hydroponic garden together. I got this clear container from the container store. The only reason I went with clear was because it was the only thing that would fit on the shelf I bought. So that required me to have to paint it. So I roughed up the surface a bit. I don't know if this step was 100% necessary, but I roughed it up, I sprayed it down so this way all the dust was off, and then I ended up spray painting it this like dark, like espresso mocha color, I think they called it. Mainly the main point of this was to block any light from getting in because any light that gets in will cause algae to grow. So I was just checking the inside here just to see how much light was getting through, and I ended up putting an extra coat down, and I did the same thing with the lid. And then once that was all done, I had it dry off, and I drilled some holes in and put my nesting cups in. I got them on Amazon, and they were really easy to put together. Right, so this is the air pump. I have it suspended here because it makes the least amount of noise that way. If it was laying on top, it would vibrate the whole rack. So I have the air pump, the air hose. I drilled a hole into the side over here that was just big enough for the inside diameter of this tubing. And I kind of folded it and crimped it and pushed it through. Just where the least amount of light gets in as possible. And also it has to go in and under. So hopefully that, actually I want to give this a little bit more slack. I don't want it to kink. This way it goes up into the air pump, through and directly in. And there's a little cover over here. So this way the least amount of light as possible could get through. And then I have the stone sitting right perfectly in the middle. And this is a strong enough air pump that if I wanted to add a second rack down below, I could put a T in over here and just run the wire straight down into here onto the bottom rack as well. Yeah, so that's the next step. All right, so I just put my little tomato plant that I had propagating in the container. It's all running, it's the first plant in. This set of nesting cups came with these foam inserts to kind of block, one, to hold up seedlings, and two, to kind of block sunlight from getting in, or, you know, grow light from getting in. So I'm gonna be planting, right now I'm just gonna start with 4 plants. I put the seeds to the side. Let me grab those. I have Italian oregano, Italian parsley, rosemary, and basil I'm going to be growing. So that's 4 out of the 6. The other 2 I'm just going to plug with the foam for right now. I'm going to use those for either propagating, or if I get to a point where maybe I want to expand a little bit, I'll get a couple more spices. I might be getting cumin coming in. We'll see. Yeah, that's what I'm starting with right now. So yeah, it seems to be running pretty good. The air pump only draws an extra 2 watts on my Jackery. You know, the light takes 24 watts. So that's really good power efficiency. And I just have it running through, I just have to plug that in a little bit better. I just have it running through the light. So, yeah, and then I'm going to clean up this wiring a little bit. Currently, I don't have electrical over here on the wall, so I might put a new outlet in. But if I can get enough charge off of my Jackery to run this off of solar, I'm just going to stick with that because rather use solar instead of being tied to the grid. All right, so I laid out my rock wool. I kind of miscounted because I forgot about the tomato plant. Again, the tomato plant's kind of an experiment, but yeah, so I'm going to actually need 5 slots, not 4 slots. So yeah, we'll have 1 extra. I'll plug that up with a foam little insert right here just to stop the light from coming in, and I'll get these other 4 seeded. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put like 3 or 4 seeds into this little hole and plop it in here. Yeah, and then we'll be rocking and rolling. All right, so in here I have the basil, the Italian parsley, the Italian oregano, and the rosemary. So they seem to be getting pretty wet. Not quite sure how much water I'm supposed to be putting in so far. I have basically like 1/4 of the cup up with water. Let's see, I can show you on this one. I have like that much of the cup with water. I'm gonna just research online just to make sure if that's enough water. And if not, I will definitely fill it up more, and I'll let you guys know. All right, so this is about a week and 2 days into my hydroponic garden. That's my wife's succulent, still rehabbing it. You can see the tomato has been doing great. It has been grown quite a bit just in the 1 week's time, and the roots are still mainly just swimming around in the cup, but they're just starting to break out. Let's see if I can get in there so you can kind of see what the stem's looking like right now. This one I still have nothing in. The rosemary, I haven't seen any signs of it sprouting. The oregano is just starting to come up. I've seen that for a day. And the parsley just has the slightest hint of green poking out of there. The basil was the first one to come up, maybe about after 4 days. So that's a pretty good, it's been 3 days that it's been blooming. So hopefully this does take off. I have the air pump running for 16 hours a day. I have the grow light running on the same circuit for 16 hours. And then I have this Ryobi clip fan, which I keep on the low setting. So you can see there's 2 different settings right here. I go on the low one. And that runs all day just to keep the air moving around. This is a very humid room. It's my laundry room. So we try to not have it be super mildewy or anything in here. So we want to keep the air circulating. Also, my boiler is in this room. So we don't want things to be too hot. So right in here is my garage. And that's very cold because that's not insulated. So sometimes I'll let the door open and kind of mix in with the air, kind of bring the temperature down in the room, let the humidity come out. But so far 1 week in, doing pretty good. The tomato plant was struggling for the first couple days, and I did have to do a lot of pruning because the leaves were getting I think it was blight on there. But after I did a lot of that pruning, it was maybe like I had to cut 1 or 2 things a day. It kind of just started taking off. So that's really good. I mean, it's grown quite a bit. But I'm going to stay on top of the pruning once this gets a little bit taller. And I'm going to see. I'm not 100% sure if this clearance is enough for the tomato plant. I have my Jackery and all this stuff up here. That's why all the wires are hanging down. I have a lot of things charging at the same time. I'm not sure if this is going to be too short. I might have to switch the tomato over to a different container down the line. It might do like a crab key method hydroponic, but we'll see. I'm going to try to do some more research and see if I prune this enough, if it'll start to fruit just in this little space, and I'll just have like a little bit of tomato. These are cherry tomatoes, so hopefully I can get it to fruit just in this little space over here, just by being super on top of the pruning, but I have to do more research. So yeah, that's the 1 week update. All right, so this is the 2 week update and the finale of the video. We'll be giving updates periodically just to show the progress of it, but you can see the tomato is doing really well. I've done some pruning. It seems to be doing really nice. It took a couple days for it to kind of settle in, but it's doing pretty good right now. Don't have any real complaints about it. I hope it has enough height. I'm hoping if I just prune it enough and keep it up by like the top of the lights, it will start to fruit. If not, again, I probably will have to move this someplace else. So this was a complete experiment. Trying to hope to see if I can at least get this to stay until springtime, so this way I can plant it outside. Basil has sprouted, and it is starting to get its natural leaves, and the seed leaves are doing pretty good, but it hasn't really grown too much in the last week, except we just got those 2 little bumps for the new leaves. Parsley's doing really good. It looks like 3 of the seeds sprouted, but this bottom one is kind of struggling a little bit there. I might need to take this parsley and put it in my extra chamber. I don't know yet what I'm doing with that, but it's taking off. It's starting to grow. It's just 2 weeks in. Italian oregano, I'm not sure what happened here. Almost like the leaves got stuck in there or something. But like I saw them and then they started turning gray well, like brown, and they kind of just died. So that I had, sorry about that, the water heater turned on. So yes, anyway, I had to reseed the oregano. So it's only been maybe 4 days since that. So that's why it's at the state that it is right now and not doing anything. I believe this white stuff is the nutrients from evaporation. The food that I put into the hydroponic garden. I think that's what that white stuff is. And then this is the rosemary. I have not seen any activity from this, and I don't know what the germination period of it is. So I'm going to give that a little bit longer and probably do some Googling to see what's going on with that. And then this one's just empty. I use it to check water level, which maybe I should refill it soon. Maybe. I have the Ryobi fan on here. I learned that it's really weird. The 4 amp hour battery lasts like 2 days, but if I put like a 2 amp hour battery on there, it only lasts like a couple of hours. I'm not sure how that works, but I keep it on low and I have it going across, and then I have my air pump over here. I used to have them on the same side, but I switched sides because the air pump would sometimes touch the fan. It would make a bunch of noise. So now I have them on opposite sides now. And I just have that to circulate the air. This is a pretty hot room because my boiler's in here. So I do open up the garage door, which is uninsulated, and I let some cold air in, and just to keep the temperature down. And yeah, that's it. That's the 2-week update. If you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comments down below. I'm still learning, so yeah, this is gonna be a learning process, and I'll be continually updating this series.